What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pigskins and Pinfalls. I'm Dick Burns.
I'm Bobby Boomerang. We're here to talk everything from the Titan sign D-Hop to Trinity rises to the top.
That's right, we're here to talk everything from franchise tag fumbles to title-changing rumbles. Make sure you guys give us every little bit of support. I've done fucked up the tagline again. Every little bit of support helps keep this show running, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and leave your expectations at the door. How you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. A little bit in the doghouse. I had a prank that might have gone too far. I think I'm sleeping on the couch tonight, but
Oh, good job.
other than that, I'm good.
Sounds like fun. So apparently, I'm now like part of a Monday night trivia group because I was good for several answers, and now they're like, no, you're not allowed to leave. You're coming back every week.
I miss doing trivia, man. That used to be a lot of fun
It,
over
it
at
did used to be a lot. We used to have a lot of fun doing that. When they
over at the
said they were like
church.
inviting me, I was just like, I like it, but it is on a Monday night.
Are these old friends?
Yeah, these are the friends that like I had out here. They were like, we really want you to come out and come do trivia with us because this is like you getting to come hang out with us and our friends. And I was like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
why not? Actually, they were really cool people. I actually made a lot of friends tonight, so I'm here for it. I'm not gonna
I'm
complain.
glad the move is going. Honestly, it sounds like it's going better than expected. And after the shit hand that you have been dealt, you deserve it. So I'm
Thank you. I
happy for you.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so this week, guys, we don't really have a whole lot to go over. I said it right before we started recording. Like we are in the dog days of summer. Like, we've told you guys before, we're not going to give you rundown reviews of Raw and SmackDown. We're not going to do that.
That being
Football,
said, we forgot about Slammiversary, and we
we
have a
did,
lot to cover about Slammiversary this week.
we did, and yeah, I mean, so we're doing the best we can. We actually had two pretty good intros for the lack of material that we
I
came
know,
up
right?
with.
We were both sitting here like 5 minutes beforehand, just like shit. We got to think of a title. Anybody that saw last week's episode, I didn't even remember to think of a title, and I was just like, fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it
So
live.
we'll do it live.
So I guess we'll start with Slammiversary because that's probably the biggest news.
Yeah, so like I wish we would have thought about this beforehand. Otherwise, we would have definitely done like predictions because that was a stacked card, and I didn't even realize it. So here's my thing. We'll go ahead. This isn't technically the order of the matches, but this is how I came to realize that Slammiversary was this past weekend, and I had forgotten all about it. I start out by seeing all the social media clips of the match between Leo Rush and Chris Sabin, or if you want to call it a match because it was more of an angle than anything. Did you, by chance, have you caught it at all? So, okay. So essentially what it is, Saban's walking down to the ring. Leo attacks him before the ring, before the match. Um, Saban's selling a neck and head injury and is like, no, it's okay. I'll still take the match. And it was like Rush just picking the bones, just consistent like kicks to the head, knees to the head, just everything like just hit after hit after hit to the head. Pretty sure he threw out a Stormbreaker out there for a moment. So that
Oh
was
wow.
like, yeah. And then goes up, final hour frog splash. Saban kicks out at two, so he goes up for another frog splash. Then that does the trick. So it's a super heelish win, a super heelish win. It keeps Saban protected, but we're getting a heel Leo Rush as the new X Division champion.
Always been a fan of Leo Rush. I know he's had his, for lack of a better term, off the field issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know that he's kind of rubbed some people in the business the wrong way. But him as a performer is incredible to watch.
Outstanding.
I mean, that stuff he was doing with Bobby Lashley a few years ago, outside of
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lashley bending over and showing us his ass. But no, like his mic work is good. His in ring work is incredible. I mean, he's
He only got better once he started doing the Impact, New Japan, all the indies and everything. Like he was one of those people that he went out and was like, I'm gonna go out and make a name for myself. And let's not forget, originally he wanted to leave wrestling and go into rap.
yep.
And inevitably he was just like he got the itch again. He's like, no, I'm getting back in the ring. And his stint in AEW didn't go that well. He left like that went nowhere. But ever since he's hit the indies again and like he hit Impact, he's been again that showing he put in during the Best of Super Juniors this year. Like I think that
Reignited him.
yeah, it definitely reignited him, and I think that putting the X Division title on him is a great way to go. I'm interested to see this whole heel persona of his, where he's just like he's like because the way they did it, the way he was so cold and calculated about all those attacks, like he's sitting here like watching Saban struggle to stand up, and he's just sitting in the corner doing like just holding the trigger up, taunting left and right. And he's so good. Like again, I know this wasn't so much a match as it was an angle, but this was what made me like stop and be like, oh shit, that's right, Slammiversary was this weekend, and holy shit, they're doing good.
And we've been singing praises for Impact for a while on this show.
We really have. Now, the reason we want to go so far in depth on Slammiversary, though, is because I saw that one angle, and I was just going to put it in there in the notes, being like, hey, it's Slammiversary. Lio Rush won the X Division title by doing this. And I saw it on social media. And then I start going through, and I'm like, elsewhere on the card, and I start typing up everything. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like it turned into like 6 lines worth of stuff, and I really just like we got to go match by match and just talk the implications at this point, because
is Slammiversary Impact's WrestleMania?
Pretty much. Slammiversary and Bound for Glory are like their big two. It's like that's like their WrestleMania and SummerSlam. But yeah, I'd say if anything, like Slammiversary is their WrestleMania. And I always forget that it's the middle of July, but it's always a great show, and they pulled out all the stops this year. So starting out we had Death Dolls and Jody Threat versus Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Jay Vidal. I really don't know much about this other than the fact that, again, it's great to see Rosemary turn into Courtney Rush and get her time outside of the face paint again. It was a very by the numbers match. It's a pre-show match. It's designed to build up Jody Threat because she's undefeated right now. Not only that, but her being Canadian, they were doing the show in Windsor, right around the corner from Toronto.
Great name. Jody Threat, great name.
Yeah. And we'll get to their women's division definitely later, but like this was definitely this was just a showcase match for their women's division. Giselle Shaw has some really good legs as a heel. Like she has good potential, but I mean outside of that, there wasn't much on the write-ups. Again, I'm going mostly off the write-ups. I did, however, watch this one because, of course, Digital Media Championship, they always do on free, like, YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry, who has been reigning as the Digital Media Champion for, I know he's the longest. I forget how long it's been. It's definitely been, like, I think at least, like, 8 or 9 months. Definitely since last year. They were teasing up this whole rivalry between him and Kenny King, him playing on Kenny King's former stripper background. But Kenny King with the win, taking the title, ending Joe Hendry's reign. On one hand, I'm disappointed. On the other hand, I'm happy because that means Joe Hendry can finally move up and do bigger things.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like I think now is the time to start pushing him up to the X Division. I've very much always sang Joe Hendry's praises ever since he was in WCPW and got known there. So, I mean, it's great to see him thriving on the big stages now. The return of the Ultimate X, we missed a hell of a show there. Kushida comes out with the win. There was a unadvertised returning Jake something that got entered into the match as well, so it became a 6-man match.
Love that.
Kushida coming out with the win. I like this though because that means that now we're going to get a program between Kushida and Lio Rush, which the two of them have a lot of history. So, and especially like the two of them having been wrestling so much in Japan recently with when Leo was teaming with Yo against Kushida and Kevin Knight for the junior tag titles out in New Japan. I know they've got a lot of history there. So to see them have a one-on-one package, definitely looking forward to it.
Is Kushida still doing his Marty McFly gimmick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everywhere he goes. That being said, and this was something that that Bleacher Report pointed out, with Kushida winning, it kind of telegraphed that Leo was going to win because then you'd be going into a babyface versus babyface Kushida versus Saban match. Not the worst thing in the world, but...
No. But for somebody like Kushida with the name value of Kushida to do a babyface versus baby, you want that to be a long program. It's okay to do babyface versus face on a short one-off, but to build a long program, which is what they're probably going to want to do, it needs to be face heel.
Plus, I think right now, if they're really trying to build Leo up as a solid heel champion, then yeah, and not just the fact that he's a heel champion, because it's so easy to go the chicken shit heel route and
Right.
keep his title by nefarious means, no matter what. But the way they're building him up to be cold and calculated, and just to be just to be a hitter, just not like a hitter in I'm gonna hit you, but that's like your pinch hitter.
I get what
You
you're
get
saying.
you get. I'm just clarifying for the crowd, but yeah,
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
yeah, you paint when I'm priming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Moving on to the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. The Coven, of course, have had those titles for a little bit. Facing off against the new team of Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly. The minute we said, what was it, just the other week when we said that they became a tag team, just put all the titles on them.
Just give them everything.
Just put all the titles on them, and guess what? They put the titles on them. Apparently, this was the best match of the early part of the card, which doesn't surprise me out of Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly. Everything you see out of the two of them is just, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be the most knowledgeable on the Coven. I know a little bit. I've seen a little bit of Kylan King's work when she was with AEW. I've seen Taylor Wilde work before, but she's never really impressed me. I get that the Coven are a thing, but come on, Masha and Kelly, you gotta put gotta put those titles on there. That is Impact's Ronda Shayna.
I was just getting ready to say it's almost like you took the words right out of my mouth.
That's their Ronda Shayna. And thankfully, we get to see a long run. I'm assuming we're going to get a long run out of the two of them instead of the tiny run that we got out of Rousey and Baszler.
Yeah.
Scott D'Amore, mystery partner, versus Bully Ray and Diener. Originally, this was supposed to be Scott D'Amore and PCO versus Bully Ray and Steve Macklin. Macklin got injured, had to be taken out of the match, replaced by Diener. Now, this is where things get interesting, because PCO got taken out of the match as well. And I heard there was rumors that there was discussion that was maybe an injury. I don't know if it was actually an injury or not. However, they showed Scott D'Amore on Impact this past week on the phone backstage, and was whoever he was speaking to, he threw out can't you just come back to life? So here's where things get interesting. We've been talking for the past couple months about how apparently Eric Young had been signed to the WWE. He had left Impact at the end of his contract, went to WWE, was waiting to re-debut.
I'd been there since December was
earlier. I think honestly it goes as far back as September, October.
Right.
There's been talks about Eric Young leaving Impact and coming back to the WWE. Hadn't debuted yet. A whole lot of news broke right after this debut, because as it turns out, then it turns into Scott D'Amore bringing out his former Team Canada partner in Eric Young, which means Eric Young has returned to Impact. Now, here's the fun part about that as well, is let's not forget that Diener was the one that killed Eric Young off. So that had the storyline implications as well.
Now, is it possible that WWE granted him a one-off because they're not using him right now?
No. So, per Fightful Select, all the reports that have come out, Eric Young was granted his release back in April, around the same time as the Endeavor deal going through, and it was said specifically that he had moral and creative differences because he absolutely refused to work with Vince McMahon. And because of that, he requested his release. Meanwhile, he was supposed to be waiting in the wings because he was supposed to be part of this whole Bray Wyatt thing that was supposed to be happening. That came out too. Him and Mike Bennett were supposed to be part of that. They were originally supposed to have the puppets come to life, and they were supposed to. They were supposed to have the whole Wyatt 6 thing that they were rumoring. Mike Bennett and Eric Young were tied to that. They were supposed to be signed on for that. That's one of the reasons Eric Young got re-signed. When things started never falling through, and then once Vince came back through the Endeavor deal, Eric Young's like, I'm out. Nope, I don't want any part of it. They granted him his release. He just finished his 90-day no compete clause. That's what allowed him to debut on Impact.
Beautiful. I'm glad he stood up for what he believed in, and I'm glad the WWE granted the release, and I'm glad he's wrestling.
I'm glad he's able to go back to Impact, where he has a lot of history, where he honestly has the most history.
Absolutely.
He is an Impact guy through and through. He may have gotten a rough deal while he was with the WWE, but at least in Impact, he's going to shine. He has always shown. And again,
Sanity was great.
what's that? Sanity was
Sanity
great, but
was.
Sanity was fumbled.
Yep.
So inevitably, this comes out to Eric Young and Scott D'Amore getting the win. Everyone comes out looking good on this. In reality, like this is a great return for Eric Young. This is a great spot to do it. And I mean, it's right there in the middle of the card. This is that nice feel good moment where you're like, if you're gonna have a match with somebody in management, at least you're gonna have some fun with it.
And it's right before a massive heel angle.
Yeah. So going from there, that's when we go into the X Division match. Then we go to the Tag Team Championship 4-way. ABC versus Moose and Brian Myers, Rich Swann and Sami Callihan, Subculture. We've been saying how awesome it is to see Subculture getting a chance on Impact because they never really got the chance that they would have deserved after NXT UK got shut down.
Yeah.
And they won the titles. So they won the tag titles, and I'm glad to see it. Apparently, it was a really good match. Which, I mean, when you look at the 8 names that are in that match, I'm not surprised.
Quite a few title changes on this show.
There were a lot of title changes, and that's not even all of them, because I think we have at least 1 or 2 more.
Oh, I know of one.
Yeah. Good to see Moose sticking around, of course.
Yep.
Frankie Kazarian versus Eddie Edwards. Grudge match. Eddie Edwards wins.
When did Kaz leave AEW?
Kaz has been gone from AEW.
Really?
That happened months ago. Pretty sure we reported on that. No, we didn't report on that. Take that back. Yeah, no, he signed a full-time... When his deal ended with AEW, he signed a full-time deal with Impact. And he's back in Impact again. So good on him. But he's been doing this whole grudge angle with Eddie Edwards. His wife made her return to the Impact Zone to kind of play enforcer against Alicia. I mean, a grudge match is a grudge match. You know the two of them are going to put on a bloody match. Apparently, Boston was over his heels. Apparently, they kept saying the crowd kept chanting "Boston sucks." I will never complain about that. Sorry, I'm sorry, but Boston sports, man. I mean,
worse than Cowboys fans.
And that's saying something because I've already, especially being back in North Carolina, I've had to defend myself on the Duke UNC rivalry quite a bit already.
Oh, well, you know that's coming.
Oh, 100%. But I grew up in it, and I'm reveling in it, so it's whatever. Moving on to our next title match. The last title match, with a title change, rather. What we all saw inevitably coming. Trinity wins the title off of Deonna Purrazzo. Yeah. She now has the title to back up her claims to being one of the best women's wrestlers on the market right now. And from the moment she debuted in Impact, we knew she was going to be skyrocketed right into that position. Yeah. So, congratulations. There's nothing really to say here.
I do have a bit of a hot take.
Okay.
I think that because Trinity, formerly known as Naomi, was with Sasha Banks, the current Mercedes Moné, I think that because they were together when they left, it kind of raised Trinity's star.
Oh, 100%. I can fully agree with that. I
don't actually think that Trinity is one of the best women's wrestlers out there.
I disagree. I disagree with you.
She's very good. I'm not. Yeah. She's not a bad wrestler. She's not a Nia Jax. You know.
So I see where you're coming. Okay, that's Nia catching a stray for no reason, but I'm here for it. But I disagree because I think that with Naomi's position on the card, she was always going to have to play second fiddle to so many people. Her getting her opportunity to shine outside of the WWE is not what's helping raise her her profile. In addition to that, I completely agree with you that her teaming with Sasha helped raise her stock price right before she went free agent. I can fully agree with that, and I don't think it's so much raising her stock price because she's bad and she needed it, so much as it is like Sasha teaming with Naomi helped people realize just exactly how good Naomi is.
Oh, I'll agree with that.
Like, she was always being overlooked by everybody else that's in that division. But look at how many heaters you had in the division at that time. Like, you're putting her up against names like Becky and Sasha and
Yeah.
Charlotte, Bailey, Asuka. There's
Is
only
her
so many.
finisher still the rear view?
No, I don't believe so. She
Thank
does
God.
still use the rear view, but I don't believe she's um, using it as a finisher. It does say that this was one of her best matches since leaving WWE.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yep.
they gave it a B plus. And then moving on to our main event, Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis for the championship, for the world championship. I'm actually shocked that Shelley defended successfully. I was
Me too.
so sure that Aldis coming back to Impact, they were gonna stick the title right on him, especially against somebody like Shelley. I think that this instead helps really raise Shelley's value in being a champion because he beat a historically amazing champion in Aldis. Not just for his work with Impact as TNA in his TNA days, but also, especially in his Magnus days, but
Yep.
also the time that he spent as NWA champion.
NWA champion forever.
Exactly. So, having somebody like Aldis lose to Alex Shelley, like putting Alex Shelley over, is huge for him. That being said, we had a post-match angle to close the show.
Josh Alexander's back.
Yeah, so Josh Alexander's back. Has a face-off with Alex Shelley post-match. I mean, essentially, that's all you really need. Josh Alexander is back from injury, and he's ready to reclaim the title that he never lost.
Beautiful.
Alex Shelley has it. He's going to go after Alex Shelley. Also, good on him, because I think they said, didn't they originally say his his heel time was like supposed to be a lot longer?
I believe so.
They said it was going to be a couple more months than this. Either way, I mean, it's only been like 2-3 months. Good on him. Overall, apparently the show was a B+ show, which makes me laugh because the way they put it was Impact. It was kind of like how Impact's entire existence has been, and that's pretty much exceeds expectations, but nobody really had that high of expectations. They gave it a B+, so I was literally thinking about it as like Impact is a B+ player, and then I started joking with myself. I was like, Impact is the Daniel Bryan of wrestling promotions. And it really fits. It really fits. Underrated, yet overlooked. I like it.
It's not. You're not wrong.
It's not a terrible comparison. From here, we should move on to the NFL. We should actually talk about these franchise tags that they weren't able to make deals on.
So running backs are just straight up not getting paid what they're worth.
They're really not.
That's like the easiest and most direct way to say it. The franchise tag takes the top 5 highest paid running backs, or the way the franchise tag works is it takes the top 5 players of that position and you get an average of those 5 salaries.
Yeah.
And that's what you get paid out. The franchise tag this year for running backs is $10.1 million.
Which running backs are worth way more than that.
Especially good ones.
Exactly.
Especially good ones.
I would argue that the 3 names that we have here all are worth more than 10.1 million.
Yes.
No, so those 3 names, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, the 3 running backs are Saquon Barkley, who is arguably a top 5 running back in the league.
Easy.
Josh Jacobs, you could make an argument for him top 5.
Exactly.
And Tony Pollard, you could make an argument top 10.
I was just getting ready to say not quite top 5, but maybe top 10.
Top 10. So yeah, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard. None of them were able to come to long-term deals with their respective teams. So now that means they either have to play on the 10.1 million franchise tag or not play at all. And Tony Pollard has already come out and said he's going to play. Which, as a Cowboys fan, I get it. I'm willing to bet that Jerry Jones sat him down and said, "Look, man, I overpaid your replacement, or the man you're replacing. That's why he's not here anymore. I can't pay you that right now. Make me change my mind this season."
See, you as a Cowboys fan, you can make that statement and actually say that. That being said, neither one of us is a Giants fan or a Raiders fan. What are we thinking about Saquon and Josh Jacobs, though?
So I think so. The person I'm least qualified to speak on is Josh Jacobs, because at least the Giants are in my division, so I will keep up with them loosely.
Yeah.
But so I think Josh Jacobs plays. And I think he plays not for the Raiders, but for other teams that might want him after this season. Now, Saquon has stated that he will not play for the franchise tag. He will not pay for that pay scale.
Now, he says that now. Could that change between now and kickoff?
Of course. And also, they could still work out another deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Emmitt Smith.
This is just the final day before they had to decide. No, you have to sign this deal. There's nothing that says that any of these teams can't turn around and halfway through the season they come to agreements on an extension.
Yeah, I mean, Emmitt Smith famously held out the first 2 games of the 92 or 93 season, and we went 0-2. So they immediately went and paid Emmitt Smith the money, and then we go on to win a Super Bowl that year. Only team in NFL history to start 0-2 and win a Super Bowl. Just saying. But so yeah, they could work out a deal, but I would not be shocked if Saquon did sit out, because one, Saquon has a history of injuries. So for him to sit out instead of risking playing a year, having a career-ending injury, and only getting paid $10 million for it. I can see that.
I can agree with that because, I mean, we kind of had that same argument with Christian McCaffrey this past year when we were trying to weigh the options of trading him as opposed to keeping him around. And we've been having those discussions when we were first working on his re-sign deal. That what was it, 2 years ago? That was a lot of discussion, is his durability. And he was even saying to himself, is like, I know what I'm worth, but at the same time, I have to be able to stay healthy. And if I can't stay healthy to make my name, then what good am I worth?
Correct.
And it was basically a way of him advocating for himself.
Correct. And I think that what you guys did with CMC by trading him and getting some value, and then him going and balling out for the 49ers really doesn't hurt either one of you.
No, definitely everybody won in that trade. In reality, both sides won in that trade.
To tie all of this in, who's the most famous running back that sat out because of a franchise tag?
Are you talking about Le'Veon Bell?
I am talking about Le'Veon Bell.
I wanted to bring up Le'Veon Bell, but I'm not sure how I wanted to address it, because at the same time, Le'Veon Bell is the exact opposite of what happened to Emmitt Smith.
Yes. But, so Le'Veon Bell sat out, and I actually got a notification earlier today. Le'Veon Bell was on some podcast, and he said that he regrets the way he handled that situation, and if he could go back, he never would have sat out.
So when Le'Veon Bell sat out, it was different, because he definitely, he didn't need to. There was no reason for him to sit out that entire season. And I'm glad he recognizes that now, because at the end of the day, all that did was tank his value. When he came back after that hiatus, he was never the same. He wasn't that multi-million-dollar running back that he made his name as, that got him that franchise tag. By sitting out, you gain the rust.
Yes.
We saw it with OBJ the past couple of years. We see it with every player that retires and then comes back.
See it with wrestlers.
Brady wasn't his best last year.
You see it with
wrestlers. We just got finished last week talking about how Punk has that I can barely move walk.
Yeah.
Him, Matt Hardy, and all the other legends. They all have that I can barely walk, but I'm still in it.
Right.
They have that in them. So yeah.
But if I were a gambling man, Tony Pollard has already said he will play. I would bet that Josh Jacobs plays, and then I wouldn't bet on Saquon, because I could see it going either way.
I think Jacobs plays because the Raiders are still trying to put something together. We don't know how things are going to work out with Jimmy G yet.
Yeah.
Jimmy G can still turn around and ball out, and then
or not even be a Raider.
That too.
Remember his clause in his contract.
That too. There's so many what ifs with the Raiders this year that Josh Jacobs, he could sit out, he could not. Imagine if Jimmy G's contract gets nullified and then Josh Jacobs decides, I'm going to sit out. The Raiders are in tank mode at that point.
And then if I'm Devontae, get me the fuck out of here.
Exactly. And I wouldn't blame him either. This isn't the team you signed up to be part of.
To be on the complete reverse of that, imagine having Jimmy G, Devontae, and Josh Jacobs all as your skill positions.
That's the flip side. That's what could happen this year.
Right.
And that's where I can see Josh Jacobs being like, okay, I'm on the franchise tag, but we're still gonna go and we're gonna make a run for this chip. Which, in a stacked division like theirs, you never know.
Right. Yeah.
Because let's be real, the AFC West they're competitors now. They really are. I mean,
it's more like competing for second place because until further notice, Kansas City has that number one for the division almost on lock.
What would happen if somehow LA decides to sneak out past them this year? I can see it happening. I don't see it likely, but I see it possible. I don't think the Raiders will do it because there's just too many moving parts, but I feel like...
And it damn sure ain't going to be Denver.
They got to figure their own... Well, I don't know. Things may change with Peyton at the helm.
In 1 year?
No.
In less than a year, really?
I agree. I think it's way too much to change. I mean, let's be real. They still have a great defense.
Yes.
Denver does still have an amazing defense. They have a lot of pieces in the right place. They just got to figure out what's going on offense. And I feel like a lot of that was, especially last year, was a lot of ego, especially with Russ. Yeah. And just considering that Russ highly advocated for wanting Sean Payton from the very beginning, he's going to be a lot more motivated to play this year, and we're probably going to get... I think he has a great rebound year because of it.
I could see it. I wouldn't be shocked if...
I don't think Denver takes the division. Let's go ahead and get that clear. I don't think they take the division. However, I do see them possibly making a run for a wild card spot.
I wouldn't be shocked if Russ threw for 3,000 yards. 25
I was gonna say he can throw 3,000 yards easy. Not even a question. That's easy. It's just a matter of, again, is he going to be motivated to throw that 3,000 yards? Is his line going to be motivated to protect him? Is his receivers going to be able to get open? Like, there's a lot of variables in that, but again, it's just a matter of how good the coaching is going to be under Sean Payton. That being said, we're talking about the Raiders here. And the Raiders, like we've sat here and we've talked about all three of the other teams in the West. We need to talk about the Raiders' chances. If they do have Jimmy G, Devontae, and Josh Jacobs, they really could make a run for a wild card push.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't say run the division. No. Absolutely not. Not in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the entirety of the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think at some point, we need to see Kansas City break.
Give it 3 years. Seriously.
I've got this. I'm not putting a NostraDumbass stamp of approval on it, but I just have this feeling like something's gonna give this year. Kansas City's not gonna be. I'm not saying they're not gonna be dominant, but it's gonna be one of those like, the gods can bleed kind of moments. I feel like we're gonna have one of those this year.
We saw that when he lost the Super Bowl to Brady.
Yeah, well, that's different because it's Brady, and the Bucs were kind of overloaded that year.
The New England Buccaneers?
The New England Buccaneers, yes. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is. Like, but seriously, like, I feel like this is going to be, like, the first year in a while that we're going to see, like, the gods can bleed out of Kansas City. I think... this is my bold statement. I think that fair. LA has a chance if they play well. If they don't charger it up, they have an opportunity to take the West.
I'm not betting on LA until they don't give up 30-point leads in the playoffs.
This is also true. You kind of like come on.
And to kind of segue the team that came back from being down 30, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Re-signed tight end Evan Engram.
3 years, $41.25 million.
41.25.
What does that break down to? Let me see. 13.75. 13.75 mil a year.
Something like that.
Average. It's pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
He's getting paid more than all them running backs that just got franchise tagged.
Yep, and he was. Let's not forget, man. He was. He came on strong in the second half of the season.
He balled out last year. So
in the second half specifically, when he really came into his own.
When the news broke about Evan Engram, and we're sitting here, and I was thinking about it. I was thinking to myself, I was like, when he got traded, getting traded to, or not traded, just signing with Jacksonville last year was the best thing that could have happened for him. I always thought he was decent when he was in New York, but he never really got an opportunity there, like at the time, because this is also before Danny Dimes really started coming into his own. However you may feel about Daniel Jones is however you feel, but at the time, like when he was there in New York, those last couple of years with Eli and like beyond that, he never really got an opportunity. I thought he was a good player, but he just never got an opportunity. And once he got into Jacksonville last year, he balled out.
They found a good way to get him involved in that offense. And
him and Trevor Lawrence have really good chemistry, and I see really good things. So this is a great re-signing for Jacksonville.
Yep. Yep. So he was the one person who was able to work out a long-term deal from the franchise tag.
Was he? That's right. He was tagged this year.
He was.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, he deserves it. He definitely he balled out this year. He made his money. Like, good on him.
And to continue on with our beautiful segues here, the Jags in-division rival Tennessee Titans signed DeAndre
Keep talking.
Hopkins.
I'm pulling up the contract. I got to find the details.
They signed DeAndre Hopkins.
2 years, $26 million.
13 a year.
13 a year. So, of course, when we were on Deep Hop Watch, we talked about how he went to that visit to Tennessee, and they rolled out the red carpet for him. They really made him feel at home. And, I mean, good luck catching passes for Mayonnaise Boy, but...
Milk,
mayo, whatever food he's ingesting.
And Ryan Tannehill is still the starter.
That's true. Ryan Tannehill is still the starter. And they still have Malik Willis on that squad, too. They haven't decided. Yeah. So. And
if you're a fan of memes, everybody has seen the memes that Tennessee is where receivers go to die. Because they've signed Randy Moss, Andre Johnson,
I forgot about Andre Johnson. Damn.
Julio Jones.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, it's just been it's not it seems to be receiver purgatory.
He could change things up though. People used to say the same thing about the Raiders, and then Devontae went there.
I think he has a lot more left in the tank than those three guys I just mentioned did when they went to Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, I think that now let's make it very, very clear. DeAndre Hopkins is the absolute clear-cut number one wide receiver there.
Absolutely, not even a question.
There's no competition.
Now, I want to throw out a statistic that's been going around the past couple days though since this contract was signed. DeAndre Hopkins has missed 15 games in the past 2 seasons. He is still, I believe, top 10 in productivity in those 2 years, despite missing that many games. He is still like leading in a lot of stats, while still having missed like half the games.
Missing a season, basically.
It is a testament to how good he is when he's healthy.
Yes.
At this point, the question is staying healthy.
In my opinion, he has the best hands in the league. Strictly hands. Best hands in the league. Him or Tyreek?
I was going to say Justin Jefferson, but okay. JJ made me money last year.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
JJ made me money.
D-Hop's top 3 best hands in the league.
I can agree with that.
Strictly hands.
I can agree with that.
And, that division isn't
It's a winnable
great.
division.
Yeah.
No.
It's Jacksonville's division
Jacksonville's
to lose.
It is definitely Jacksonville's to lose, but the other 3 teams, I mean, you're not
get a wild card push out of it.
No one's getting a wild card push.
But you could.
You could. Tennessee didn't they have a wild card push last year?
Good thing we have Google.
Right? It's not like we can't look at Google.
And I remember my 8th grade math teacher telling me you're not going to have a computer in your pocket.
I know, right? how things have changed. The 7th seed went to the Dolphins,
And that was a
which
game they could have won.
came down to the Titans and the Dolphins beat them out for that position.
Yep.
I remember that now.
Let's be clear and obvious. The Tennessee's offense runs through Derrick Henry, literally. But
this alleviates some pressure off of Derrick Henry, though.
Correct, because now you can't put 8 in the box, because if you put 8 in the box, that means someone's going one-on-one with DeAndre Hopkins, and I have watched DeAndre Hopkins moss a ball over 3 defenders.
Exactly.
Good luck one-on-one.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that you mentioned how DeAndre Hopkins has hands. He's got ups too.
Oh yeah,
he's got a lot of ups.
He can jump. I am out of segues now, so are you hungry?
Yeah, I mean we ain't got much, but we got some scraps here.
We'll go to the leftovers.
All right. So I wanted to I want to ask you about this. Have you heard about Blue Kane?
Heard about? Yes. So, no, because by the time I fucking got hip to it, it was down.
Yeah. So Twitter suspended him. I guess WWE filed copyright claims. But for those of you that haven't been following along, Blue Kane is this character that's been around on the indies now for a couple of weeks and has been taking the internet by storm. And right as he started I was ready to start reporting on it, it had really caught on. This guy is everywhere. He's showing up at indie match after indie match after indie match, and he's literally just 98 Kane but blue. And instead of firepower, he has snow power. That's all it is.
Love that.
It is the stupidest thing in the world, but it works so perfectly. And naturally, of course, you had to see that it was going to get hit with a copyright infringement of some sort by the WWE, and that's probably why they got taken down. But I mean, he's still out there. Joey Janela just did a video with him on Instagram earlier this week, yesterday, I think.
When Dick says he's literally 98 Kane but blue, it's literally 98 Kane but blue. When I just looked at the pictures, I was like, somebody just fucked with the tinting or something. Can I
get a screenshot of this to share real quick? Hang on. Here's what happens when I search Blue Kane. It's literally Blue Kane. Yeah. Not kidding. And he has been taking the internet by storm. I love everything about it. I think it's great. I'm mad that he's getting taken down. I'm mad it's getting taken down because of the fact that I look at this in the same way that we looked at Gilbert 20 years ago. We know it's parody. We know they're taking shots, but it's fucking great. Come on. Why would you not want to see that? And then, of course, naturally, everyone had to start bringing up, who remembers Green Kane? And I was like, yes, we all remember Green Kane. Shut up.
Green Kane?
Yeah, when he teamed with X-Pac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he was a pseudo member of the DX.
I was thinking another indie guy. My brain wasn't.
No.
It's late.
I think it's funny. It sucks that it inevitably got taken down, but yeah. Also, we don't actually have our leftovers put together. We're just kind of picking.
We had such little notes, we didn't organize them.
We really didn't. It's literally not even a screen's worth of notes. I don't even have to scroll to look at everything. We do also on our notes have the 2 NostraDumbass calls that we made last week. And I need to point out how one of them did come true, just like I said it would. Austin Theory is getting a challenge for the U.S. title from 2 eliminator matches, 4 ways, and next week we're getting, Hell a Night. Yeah.
I was watching a YouTube video in bed the other day, and somebody on Cultaholic said LA Knight, and I just went, yeah. And my girlfriend looked at me and she was like, what? And I'm like, nothing.
Right. Just go with it.
Just don't worry about it.
It's Pavlovian, okay?
It literally, bro, yeah. Literally Pavlovian. But yeah, so we've got LA Knight coming for Austin Theory. I think I know who you and I both will be taking in that match.
Absolutely.
When we make our picks.
Yeah.
That is one of the few matches where you and I will not change our picks for the sake of just argument. We're both going to ride with LA, and that's how it's going to be.
What if... No, there's always that chance of me, second-guessing myself. No. This is a lock. This is such a lock.
I mean, let's hope we can get LA to hold the title through shit. Honestly, WrestleMania,
Yeah.
let somebody dethrone Roman, and then put him in the main title picture by next SummerSlam.
I think that's a little bit rushing it, but okay. Um, Speaking of things being locked in, we finally locked in our team for Hard Knocks this year.
Kind of.
Well, it got announced today.
Yes, but it wasn't a yes, we'll do it. It was a more of you are doing it via the NFL.
Well, that is kind of where they're at, and they said that that's where they were already at. Like last week when we were talking about
Right.
who was it that was originally supposed to do it, and then they opted out.
Cleveland? No, Detroit. Detroit was
Detroit,
going to do
yeah,
it 2 years in a row.
yeah, and they were like, no, we're not doing it 2 years in a row. Um,
Yeah.
and we did discuss that there was the possibility that they were going to force a team to do it.
And they did.
At the same time, I think Hard Knocks of the Jets would be really entertaining to watch with all the changes that they have this year.
Could be. It could also be very, very lackluster because I can see Aaron Rodgers just being like Bill Belichick on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but it would be interesting to see. Maybe they don't focus so much on Aaron Rodgers as it is about everybody around him.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how this breaks down with Zach Wilson. I'd love to see
Oh,
him
that's
act. I would love to see how this is actually like affecting Zach Wilson to have Aaron Rodgers in the building. Because they remember, let's not forget that when this whole like trade talks first started happening, Zach Wilson
what did
was
Zach
going around
Wilson
talking
say?
about he's going to make Aaron Rodgers' life hell, and then
He didn't say Aaron. He all he said was whatever quarterback they bring in, I'm going to make his life hell.
Rodgers gets
It
there,
turned
and
out to be Aaron
apparently
Rodgers.
yeah, and then Rodgers gets there, and then apparently the two of them have great chemistry and they love working with each other. So it's like, who knows?
That's good because Jordan Love never got that with A-Rod in
No,
Green Bay.
no, not really. Or maybe they did and we just didn't see it. Which I
No,
think is
there was like reports of like they weren't close.
oh, all right. Well, then never mind. You know, looking back now, I can kind of see that because, like, when you look at the way the team was acting, like, it did feel like there was a lot of separation between Rodgers and the rest of the team. And now you have Rodgers gone, and everybody's going around immediately hyping it up. And they're just like, "That's my QB1." Like, who was that? Was Jair? Jair
Yeah.
Alexander was on video. Like, they were trying to do an interview with Jordan Love, and he just comes up, "That's my QB1," and he's just like, he has the support of the team. So, like, maybe
I
it
also
really was like a culture thing that getting rid of Aaron Rodgers.
I possibly, but I also do wonder how much of that is Jair being a vet and knowing that he needs his QB needs to have confidence. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how much of that was a genuine move or how much of that was a business move.
That's fair.
Either way, if you're Jordan Love, having Jair Alexander sing your praises, hell yeah. So the NFL Finance Committee unofficially approved the sale of the Commanders. Now all we're waiting on is the owners' vote, which is expected to take place on Thursday of this week.
And I don't see that not getting passed. So
I think it's unanimous.
I think it's unanimous as well. All the stuff that's been coming out about Dan Snyder lately in the news, and like how he had
Nothing new.
it's nothing new. Everyone like
Yo, one of my good friends down here, he's like a 65-year-old man, but he's the shit. He's really awesome.
that's what
But
happens
him
when
and
when you work as a bartender. I get it.
not just that, but it's what happens when you go to where I went to and you make friends in that, you know,
True.
Anyway, he had not. We were talking football today, and he's a big college guy. He doesn't really follow the pros too much. But he was talking to me, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on with the Cowboys? What's up with the division?" I'm like, "Oh, well, at least like somehow we started talking about the Commanders." And I was like, "At least they sold the team, and Dan Snyder's out." And he goes, "They sold the team?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, who's Dan Snyder?" And I was like, "What?"
Have you been
I was
living
like,
under a
"You haven't
rock?"
heard-" I was like, "You haven't heard of?" I understand that you're 65 and you're not like tech savvy and shit, but like you haven't heard of Dan Snyder. And I just started listing off, the
All the
different
terrible things.
Yeah. And he was like, "I wonder how do you even own a goddamn team?"
I'm just picturing some old man shouting that, just like, "How do you even own a team?"
Old man yells at clouds. That's exactly what happened today. But it was very entertaining for me, and I was like, I can't wait to talk to. I can't wait to do this on the podcast. But But yeah, no, again, I dislike Washington and their entire fan base. Um,
They need
but
something good to
they
go happen to them for once in a while.
they
You know what I mean?
deserve to not have Dan Snyder be the owner of their team.
Yeah, we've said it multiple times on the show, and we
The
will
hill
never
I'll
not
die
say
on.
it. We love
Yeah,
to
I was
make
gonna
fun.
say
We
it's.
love to make fun of them, but at the same time, good for them. They got a win
Mhm.
that they desperately needed.
So yeah, now back to what I was saying earlier. The second Fatu this
Yeah,
week.
we had the newest member of the Anoa'i family debut in the ring in one of the most hilarious ways. Zilla Fatu, the son of Umaga,
Umaga son. Yep.
the son of Umaga, made his debut over the weekend at Reality of Wrestling, of course, Booker T's promotion. Um,
Hmm.
I love this because they did an interview with him and they asked him why Reality of Wrestling. And he, without even asking, like, he's been very forward about his legal troubles
He
in the
has.
past. He just spent 5 years in prison, just got out in March of last year. And it was in October that he signed with Reality of Wrestling. And he started really training and made his debut. Apparently, he's got a. I saw a video of it. He's got a nasty finisher. It's basically the Samoan Spike with a choke slam.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basically like he goes up for a choke slam and then on the way down, Samoan spikes him.
Nice.
But yeah, so like he's been very open about his illegal history. He did 6 years in prison for aggravated robbery when he was 15.
So he's only 22.
Yeah, he's only 22. But the reason they actually said, just he said it in jest, but they asked why Reality of Wrestling, and he's like, I'm on parole. I can't leave the state of Texas, and that popped me. I'm not gonna lie, but but on top of that though, like there is a lot of a lot of people that have mentioned that like Booker T and Umaga were really close backstage, so him debuting there was a natural fit. Booker T has done a really good job training up some of these new young stars. I mean, we see what he's done
Yeah.
with Roxy, with Roxanne Perez. A lot of other great names have come through Reality of Wrestling so far in their early years that we're starting to really see like flourish on the indie scene right now. So I think this is great. It's only a matter of time before he gets picked up by somebody. Honestly, I foresee him going to MLW next and teaming with Jacob Fatu.
No, dude, he's gonna interfere in the main event of SummerSlam and become the newest member of the Bloodline.
Get out of here. Get out. No. No, I genuinely, I just have this feeling that his next stop is going to be teaming with his cousin Jacob. I think that would make a great, like, I feel like adding Zilla Fatu to the Samoan SWAT team would be a great addition. And that's again like him still being young in his career. It's a good opportunity for him to learn, really like boost his star power that way with his like bloodline. Actually getting to work with another one of his cousins that's doing great work. That's very quietly doing great work in MLW. Like not many people are talking about Jacob Fatu. 5 years from now, he's gonna sign with a major company. He's gonna be signed with a major company, and he's gonna be putting in work. I wouldn't be surprised if it's WWE just because he's in Anoa'i.
Yeah.
And that could go for the both of them, honestly. I would not be surprised to see the both of them in WWE within the next 5 years.
I mean, also like he paid his debt to society. He did his time. He's bettering himself by doing this. Like I'm all for it.
We don't need to
Um,
focus on that side of it. Like he's a great talent. He's come from
yeah.
a great bloodline, and I'm interested to see what big things are in his future.
Do you know who is one of the biggest alumni names in Reality of Wrestling?
Of Reality of Wrestling outside of Roxanne Perez,
Yes.
um, I feel like once you tell me, I'm gonna go, oh shit, I knew that.
Smiley Kylie Ray.
I would not. I would put Roxanne over her at this point.
I'm just saying for another big name that came out of
Yeah,
Row.
I feel like Kylie Ray, like, granted, she's like, I mean, she's on her own rehabilitation journey, her mental health issues, her sobriety, like, she's been very public about her issues. She's got a lot of rebuilding before she even sniffs greatness. I'm sorry. She She had her opportunity in AEW that went short. She had her opportunity with WWE that went short. There's talk that she's possibly going to be getting back with the WWE, that they helped her get clean. So who knows? It would be interesting. She did have that one dark match out of nowhere a couple months ago against Natalia. I think it was Natalia.
I don't even think it was dark. I think it was on main event.
Yeah, I think it was a main event match. I know that. They mentioned how she would they brought her in as like a free agent talent and had her work. I'm pretty sure it was a match against either Natalia or Dana Brooke. One of those.
I did not know that Kylie Ray had substance abuse issues.
Yeah, no, that was so when she had her huge mental break a couple years ago that sent her away. A lot of that had to deal with her alcohol issue. Like she said, she attributes that to alcohol related issues, and she's talked about her journey to sobriety now.
Interesting.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with the mental issues that she was having that led to her departure from AEW. So
good for her.
Yeah, no, good for her. That wraps it up for us though this week. Somehow we still put out an hour's worth of material. So
I don't know.
We're just bags of air that like to talk. That's all. Oh, wait. We can't leave yet.
You can't?
We can't leave yet.
Why?
Because there's something else that we got to cover. I've been hyping it up too much.
What?
We had the first weekend of the G1.
Oh my God.
How did I forget about that? We had the first week of the G1. We were about to leave and not mention it. So let's go ahead and let me pull up my spreadsheet here. Let's take a look at what we got going on. So we'll start with the A block. We already have our first tie of the G1, a time limit draw between Ren Narita and Shota Umino. So that A block, again, like we were talking about, there's a lot of new names. A lot of people really need to emerge. We're already seeing that Kaito Kiyomiya got his win versus Yota Tsuji. Chase Owens defeating Gabriel Kidd. That was one of the matches that they had on free, like on YouTube.
Okay.
They're really pushing Gabe Kidd as a heel, like as this new like Bullet Club heel, and I'm really liking where they're going with it because he's actually showing an edge. Sonata, his first match is against Hikuleo. He gets a dub. Again, I see Sonata running away with the A block, so it's going to be a good opportunity for a lot of new names to shine, but Sonata's going to run away with the A block. I can already tell. Just so everybody can see the scoreboard as it stands. Yep. This is, again, like we were just talking about, you got Sonata beating Hikuleo, Chase Owens beating Gabriel Kidd, Narita and Umino going to a time limit draw, and then Kiyomiya defeating Yota Tsuji. Moving on to the B block, we have Okada getting his first win against Great Okan, Yoshihashi getting the win over El Phantasmo. That was the other match that was on free on YouTube. Tai Chi with the victory over Will Ospreay.
Did not see that coming.
Did not see that coming at all. And then Tonga Loa getting a victory over Kenta. Kenta's on a free fall right now. What's up with that?
A little bit.
With that? I mean, he loses the title to Eddie Kingston. Loses this match to Tonga Loa. Doesn't get the match versus Punk.
I was getting ready to say, doesn't get the Punk match.
Things are not going Kenta's way right now.
Not a good month to be Kenta.
No. Moving on to the C block. Eddie Kingston, our boy, getting his first win versus Shingo.
Nice.
Eddie Kingston defeating Shingo. I want to go back and watch that match because I know that had to be fire.
Yeah.
David Finlay gets his first victory against Ishii. That's a surprise. Evil.
Over Tama
Tonga. Evil, of course, notorious for consistently being there to job out to other people. If Evil has a good showing this year, he could sneak away with the C block. Mm-hmm. You never know. Especially because I said Shingo was going to be my front runner to win, and he's already taken a loss to Eddie Kingston. Ooh, what if Eddie Kingston wins the D block?
He could.
Ooh, that'd be nasty. All right, and then moving on to the D block, our block full of veterans.
Yes.
Zack Sabre Jr. with a victory over Tanahashi. I can see that. That's a fair win. I'm pretty sure. No, Zack Sabre Jr. is very much established right now. Him and Tanahashi have a long history.
Yeah,
let's not forget their history. What's that?
Compared to Tanahashi, that is your young talent.
When you consider how many wars the two of them had for the Rev Pro Championship,
Yeah.
Like, don't forget about that. Don't forget their history about the UK Championship with Rev Pro and all the different organizations out there. The two of them have a long history of fighting each other. Jeff Cobb with the victory over Naito. That's another shocker.
Yep.
Goto with the victory over Yano. Of course, like we said, Yano's here to eat some pins.
Yep.
And then Shane Hayes with the victory over Alex Coughlin.
Good job, Slapjack.
Good job, Slapjack. I mean, again, obviously, you're going to have those. Coughlin and Kidd are not going to go far. They're your jobbers they're your Bullet Club jobbers right now. But at least they're getting some airtime in the G1.
Yeah.
Damn, we were about to walk away and not talk about that.
That's
as much
great.
As I love talking about the G1.
I know.
But all right, now that'll do it for us this week. We'll have more updates from the G1 next week. We'll have any other news updates that come up. Hopefully something happens in the next. Well, I don't want to say hopefully because that could put the air for bad things to happen.
Yeah,
we don't want bad things to happen this close to the beginning of the season.
I do want to end with we are officially less than 1 month away from the first preseason game.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Hopefully nothing bad happens, but we'll be here to report it either way. Until then, we'll see y'all next week. We're out.